I think that feels like a nice package there.
Yeah.
Wow. Look at those phones lined up. It's Felger and Mazz on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Did y'all know during the regular season that the Boston Celtics were dead last? They ranked dead last in free throw attempts. Dead last. And out of the 16 playoff teams this year, they ranked 14th in free throw attempts. Come on, man. Come on. The fact is that you're down to damn near 20. You pull within one, and all y'all did was launch three-pointers. Bottom line is you had 3 chances to win one game, and you couldn't do it. You do not go home the next day and stream a show talking about he flops. That can't happen. Because now that's what everybody remembers. And that's a shame because ultimately it's going to highlight the fact that Jaylen Brown didn't get it done.
Mazz Murray alongside. How you guys doing?
Good, you?
Good, hello.
How do you feel about the blowback Jaylen Brown's been getting?
He deserves it. You want to be a number one in the NBA? This is what it is. And you want to go online and criticize the officiating after your team blows a 3-1 series lead? This is what you get. So to me, all part and parcel to the role. That's it. Now, look, some of this he brought on himself because in his defense, I'm not sure Jason Tatum would get the same kind of blowback following a Game 7 loss, although Tatum wouldn't go on Twitch and say what Brown said.
Why do you think it's worse for Brown?
Because I think people don't like him. I really do. I think the people around the league don't like him. They wait for an opportunity to jump on him. He pumps his own tires a lot. He goes on social media and calls out Twitter. He ripped LeBron's kid, all that stuff that LeBron clearly hasn't forgotten. So I just think there's something about Brown that irritates other people in the league, and they wait for the opportunity to pounce on him. When I saw this morning's email from Jimmy and how many people were kicking the crap out of Jaylen Brown.
Oh, my God. All the clips we have.
Really unbelievable. It's just like they couldn't do it fast enough. And so to me, the first thing I thought of was, well, if this were Tatum, would they act the same way? And I don't think they would.
Maybe not as many people, but I think there's people lined up ready to take shots at Jason Tatum. Maybe more locally than nationally, Mazz. But I think the comments and the way he's carried himself is so worthy of it. I have a hard time saying that it's a Brown problem. It's, that he's been a target or is sort of people are waiting to pick on him. I think that's existed in the NBA world and the basketball world. But among fans and sort of general media, we got Stephen A. is a big supporter of his.
Yeah, he is. He's become one, yeah.
He is. I think socially and that sort of stuff, he's very much a supporter of Jaylen Brown and a believer in Jaylen Brown. Stephen A is kind of like the last guy that I think. But Stephen A is just so beholden to what he thinks is right most times that even he's compelled. So Stephen A. Smith is not someone that's lined up ready to take a shot at Jaylen Brown.
He isn't.
It's actually just the opposite for a guy like Stephen A. Smith. But I just think his comments, Jim Murray, were that bad. They just stand for such the wrong thing. That whether you're a supporter or not, you can't, if you're just beholden to the truth, he can't carry himself that way after a loss like that.
And not just the comments, the timing of them, the day after they lose, and the vehicle he used to do it. A stream? There isn't a more narcissistic thing I think you can do than to jump on a stream. There's no bigger look at me. Here I am. Let all these comments come in. I'll ignore most of them, but hear what I have to say. And I get it. This is the world we live in now, and I'm old man screaming at the cloud. But to do it the day after you blew this 3-1 series lead and to lose this series and to jump on a stream like a, hey, look at me, a-hole, and say it was the best year and the most fun year of your career, it's a horrible, horrible look. So it's all deserved, the piling on here over the last 48, 72 hours, whatever the hell it's been.
So there's really 2 parts to this. One is him complaining about the officiating, the agenda against him, Joel Embiid flopping. That whole bucket of commentary, loser's lament.
Big time.
What a loser. And again, I don't think he's a loser, but that's loser behavior is what that is. Give me a break. The flopping. Jaylen Brown. When he goes into the lane and goes to the basket, what do we get from him? Hey! He doesn't flop like Joel Embiid or Gilgeous-Alexander or someone like that. He doesn't hit the deck like with his arms flailing. But they all do it in their way. We all know it. Some are worse than others, and I don't think Brown's as bad as the worst. But every time he goes in the lane, gets brushes. Aye! So that's Marcus Smart. I know my NBA yelling at. That's Marcus Smart.
That's actually Paul Pierce.
Oh, that Pierce. Okay, so I know that's not Brown. Brown doesn't do. The Marcus Smart was aye. Jaylen Brown is more like hey. Okay, and then the dumbass ref blows the whistle because the guy said hey. Oh, must be a foul. He said hey. So Jaylen Brown does that crap too. Don't give me that. So yeah, he just sounds like a loser when he does that. To me, the other stuff though is even a day later after that loss, he's saying I've never had more fun playing basketball. That line, give me that one again. This is post-game, right? So I said a day later. He said it on the stream, too, but he said it post-game. Here's the post-game cut. Again, after they lose at home for
this is probably one of my most fun years playing basketball. You know, it didn't always it wasn't always perfect. It wasn't always analytically, aesthetically pleasing, but we won a lot of basketball games, and people could see the grit and the fight that we play with every single night. And tonight was an example of that. We left it all out there. We played 5 small guys. We played a rookie. We played whatever, and we scrapped all the way to the end. Just came up a few plays short.
Okay, first of all, he took a shot at the organization, which I'm actually in favor of because he says it wasn't analytically pleasing. So that's a direct shot. He's done it before, made sort of side comments about the analysts and the analytics and whatnot, and good for him. He's anti. Because he's got a mid-range game, and that's what he wants to do, and he's clearly been encouraged not to. And so I think he's sort of pushing back on that. That part of it, I'm okay with. But when you come out of a year where you got bounced in the first round by a play-in team.
After being up 3-1.
After being up 3-1 and losing 3 games at home. And not only do you say this is the most fun I've had playing basketball, you're talking about the season. And you're also talking about Saturday. He was going on and on about how he liked the way they played Saturday. I wish we had done this more and trusted this more. They lost. But what's the common denominator, both for this season and Saturday night?
No Tatum.
Thank you. No Jason Tatum. How else are you supposed to read that comment? They lost. They were one and done. And he comes out and says, this is the most fun I've had playing basketball. If I take 2 weeks off, Mazz, and at the end of the 2 weeks you say, that was the best 2 weeks I've ever had, how is anyone going to read that?
Oh, I'm an honest guy.
Yeah, they're going to read it properly. Jim, I'm off for 2 weeks, and Stewart and Kevin Major are walking around like they're light as a feather, just happy as a clam. And Murray and Stu says, the best 2 weeks we've had on this show. What are you saying?
Yeah, Felger's an a-hole.
What are you saying? I mean, so how else are you supposed to read that?
No, there is no other way. That anyone is trying to delude themselves into that it's something else. You're just lying to yourself. You're sticking the head in the sand. What he is telling you is, this is the most fun year I've had because the other guy wasn't here.
I mean, and listen.
Period. End of story.
Because I was the man.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I think they've done a decent job working together professionally, and I think they can still do it. I think these are just sort of post-game comments, and I don't think this is not their biggest problem. Their biggest problem is how they play still. But, however, that's just what is he doing? He does not realize how that's going to play and how that's going to sound? You just come out of almost, let's call 3/4 of a year without Jason Tatum, and a Saturday night game without Jason Tatum. He's saying, that's the most fun I've ever had. Like, he's just inviting the very thing that he and Tatum and the Celtics and all the bobos in the media have been trying to shoot down for years.
Definitely.
That they can't coexist, they can't play together. Well, when one of the two comes out after a loss in which the other one isn't there and says, this is the most fun I've ever had, what is he asking you to believe?
He's asking you to please trade me. He went to UC Berkeley. He's lectured at Harvard and MIT. We're not talking about a dummy here. I think he knows what he's done. What he is doing is ringing the bell. Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. This was the most fun year. I had fun without the other guy, the guy who's the real superstar. But you know what? Trade me because I want to go somewhere else and do this myself so I can have more fun. Trade my ass. That's what he's doing. He's alerting the Celtics to please trade me. I want out. Or trade him.
Or alerting the league.
Or trade Tatum.
But talk about, I mean, so like now, so how was I supposed to, if freaking James Harden or Carmelo Anthony said that after they lost in the first round, if they lost at home again to a play-in team or a lesser team in the playoffs, what would we say about James Harden and Carmelo Anthony?
Losers. A-holes.
Losers.
Which is exactly what we do say about those guys.
Now, I don't think Jaylen Brown's that guy, but what the hell was that? So
I think Jaylen Brown is going on the record with how he feels rather than leaking something to Chris Haynes or to Ryan Russillo or to some national media member that he's upset with his play. He's upset about the fouls. He's just doing it publicly and going on the record with, this is how I feel. This is me. I am your source, because he had that beef with Stephen A. Smith a few years ago about name your source. You're saying I'm this and I'm that. Well, I'm right here. I'm telling you how I feel and how I felt about the series and the flopping and how I feel about it's the most fun year. And if I may, one more thing on the most fun. I think it's the most fun because if you remember the year they won the title, he didn't make the All-NBA team. He was pissed about that. There are people, I believe, in the Celtics organization who were mad that he won the playoffs MVP and the finals MVP. And I think that went right up his backside. And so he's expressing that.
Okay, like I'll give him half credit for that, Stu. Except then really own it. I want out. And really, don't just, these half things about, I've never been happier.
Well, I think he does want to be a member of the Celtics. I think he does want to be in Boston.
Oh, they want
so maybe that's a step too far for him.
Or what he's really saying is trade the other guy?
I would interpret it that way. Get rid of Tatum. Get rid of the coach. Get rid of Derek White. Get rid of all three of them.
So I just think, Mazz, he's getting this criticism not just because there are some quarters out there, some people that do have a problem with him. And they're lined up for him. There's some of that. I think it's more on merit.
Oh, listen, I said to you at the beginning, he brought it on himself.
Of what the hell are you doing?
I'm just wondering, my only point was, does he get the same treatment that Tatum gets?
Well, in this room, he does.
Okay, but I'm not
we'd be destroying Jason Tatum if he did the same thing.
Well, we did over the documentary.
Yeah.
So, but I'm just telling you nationally, I think the people around the league, and I'm not talking about media per se. I mean, maybe I'm talking about some of the media that was used to be in the league.
Yeah.
But I think some of the people around, like LeBron really loves Tatum.
No. Well, the basketball establishment, you're right.
LeBron loves Jason Tatum. He loves him. He's not quite as keen on Jaylen Brown.
Do you think Jaylen Brown wants out?
Yes.
Deep down,
yes.
Whether he wants to admit it or not, yes.
Okay.
Or he wants Tatum gone. Like, he wants his own thing. He wants to be the star of the show.
He wants his own thing.
Yeah, that's what I think it is.
And he's not going to get here because the coach isn't a fan of him. Tatum's not a fan of him. Derek White's not a fan of him. So you got a three-headed monster that Jaylen Brown is fighting against.
Who'd you say that it was? Tatum, White, and who?
Joe Mazzulla, head coach.
Yeah, Mazzulla,
5 years.
thank you. Got you. Yes.
Yeah, I think, look, if you were to ask, do I think Jaylen Brown has some sort of, hidden hatred or resentment towards Jason Tatum? My answer is no. I think that overall they get along fine, but I think he wants his own show.
And I definitely want to make that distinction. It is not between them necessarily, and I've said this from the start. So they get along. I'm not talking about them together. I'm talking about Brown and what he wants his role to be. I think the fault line is Brown's role vis-a-vis Tatum's role.
Yeah, I think it's Brown v. NBA intelligentsia, Brown v. the NBA superstar clique, because they haven't accepted him as one of them.
All I'm saying is I don't think he's personally at odds with Jason Tatum. He's at odds with his role and what the organization deems his role to be as it relates to Tatum's role.
Correct.
Okay, so that's what it is.
Tatum just happens to be the guy in front of him.
Right. It could be Harry Schmedlap. Brown wants his thing. It's obvious he wants his thing. And so I just think to do it 24 hours after that game, I guess if he's telling us his true thoughts there, Stu, I'll give him some credit for that. I don't know, I suppose. But how else are you supposed to read that? I take a day off, I come back, Mazz, that was the best day we've had in here in a long time. What would we say? whether it was the truth or not, because I know Mazz would just be making it up. What do you think out there? 617-779-0985. To you right after this.
Now, more of Felger and Mazz on the Sports Hub.
Jaylen Brown will never win again. Jaylen Brown's a loser with a loser mentality.
Is that right?
I'm sick of Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, I don't support any of his off-the-court initiatives anymore. I thought what he did after that game and during that game with all the pushing off and all the bitching that he does, he's now my least favorite NBA player, period, and I wish him nothing but the worst for the rest of his life. That dude's a loser, and he's the
got a
biggest reason.
championship. Embiid doesn't.
Tatum has a championship. Brown was along for the ride.
Jaylen Brown was the MVP.
Yeah, because of Tatum. All the attention comes on Tatum in the scouting report, and here comes no dribbling ass Jaylen Brown. I can't stand the Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown is the worst. He's the worst Brown of all of them. James is better than him. Doodoo Brown's better than him. Bobby Brown's better than him. Chris Brown's better than him. He is the worst Brown in the world.
For more entertaining, compelling sports talk with me and Tyrone Johnson.
You have a problem with that commentary, Jimmy Stewart? You gave me a this guy in my ear.
This guy, right? Tremendously entertaining, and I love a strong opinion, but like the worst Brown in the world, like come on.
Yeah, I mean, especially when he's rattling off women beater Browns,
Bobby Brown, like
cokehead Browns.
I mean, hello.
Yeah, I mean, you could be frustrated with the way he plays and handled himself after this series.
But loser mentality, he helped the Celtics win a championship. During that run, he hit the big shot when Tatum couldn't.
Okay, but, Jimmy, and Mazz has pointed this out, that was as the second fiddle.
It was.
When it's been him, and yes, Tatum played in that Game 7 versus Miami, but severely limited. He won, obviously, since when he twisted his ankle in that first minute or two, he was just kind of along for the ride. It was about Jaylen Brown that night, and he failed. And this playoffs, and certainly Game 7 was about Jaylen Brown. And I don't think he played. We haven't really talked about how he played in that game. I don't think he played well.
He didn't play well.
He got to 33 points, but there was a lot of volume there. And I don't think he played. I don't think he played nearly as well in this postseason as he did in the regular season. And so is he just another regular season guy?
Yes.
So
I would also argue
that's a little strong, but generally yes.
I mean,
he's closer to that than he is being LeBron.
He's failing the final exams as the number one. Yes, too.
I would also argue that, especially in Game 7, where he's notified 45 minutes before the game that Tatum's playing, that offensive system was catered more to Tatum's style of playing than Jaylen Brown's style of playing. And if you want to look, there was a couple of sequences where Celtics players didn't know where they should be. And Jaylen's making a pass that goes right to the bench. That's unacceptable coaching, that you're not catering your offensive system to Jaylen Brown when it was designed for Tatum. And if you look at how they play in the regular season when it was Brown, it was catered to Brown, and he put up MVP-like numbers from the Nets game where Jaylen Brown called out Derek White up until the end of the season when Tatum came back and was fully Jason Tatum.
Well, listen, biggest problem on the team is still the coaching / play style. And I'm happy to do that. I'll do that all day, 4 hours a day, until you all just submit to the obvious.
5 more years in Missoula. That'll be fun.
The coach is kind of a joke, and that play style is not a winning formula. And so the way they manage that whole injury on that final day smells fishy to me.
Yeah, it does. There's no quite look again the way they handled it with Brown. They botched it. They botched the thing. He had the right. I said this yesterday. He had the right to be part of that process. Given how important he is to the team, he should have been involved in that process.
Okay, to your phones, as promised. Nick in the car. Hi, Nick.
Hey, guys. I wanted to call yesterday. I listened to Jaylen Brown's press conference right after the game, and I thought his comments were whoppers. One, about the game wasn't aesthetically pleasing without Tatum around. 2, he said, shout-outs to Nick Nurse. They got better. Another shot there. And I think he's fair to take shots at the offense since Tatum came back. It completely changed, like Jimmy Stewart said. Their offense without Tatum was more fun, and I thought it moved around. When Tatum came back, it changed. I think it's a part of the reason they lost, and I think he's making it loud and clear that he hates the offensive system with Tatum around.
So I actually agree with all of that. I like it Brown-centric better. It's more inside the line than outside the line. I like his play style and more deliberate and physical. The ball moves a little better. It's not dramatic, but it moves a little better when he's out there. It doesn't stick quite as much. So I agree with all of that. I just don't understand, Mazz, why they couldn't toggle back really at the snap of a finger. They've been playing that way all year.
They should have been able to toggle back. and do it, which is why I don't fully buy like guys didn't know where to be. They played that way all year. All of a sudden, for 3 weeks or whatever, they start playing a different style and they don't remember how to go back to the other offense.
Seriously.
So no way. Like that, no, I don't believe that at all. I just think that the pressure changes in the playoffs. And I don't mean the magnitude of the games. I mean the actual physical defensive pressure. Guys get up on you, they get in your space, they force you to put the ball on the floor, the refs put the whistles a little bit away, and there's more physical contact and poking and grabbing and reaching, and the ball gets knocked out, and Brown is not as good.
Edward's in Cambridge. Hi, Edward.
Yes, hi. It's a superstars league in the NBA, which is why you need to call it Tatum ball, not Missoula ball, because they wouldn't be playing it if Tatum was not entirely supportive of it, if it didn't suit him to a T, which it does. And playoff threes are not like regular season threes, which is why analytics is bogus.
Well, I agree with that. I agree with that last part, but I think the Celtics are driven. I think they're analytically driven. And I think they've asked their players to fit into what they view as the way to play. That's what I think. I think it's a total lie when Missoula says, you give me a post player, we'll post. If you give me this kind of player, we'll play that way. That's a lie. That's not how they want to do it. They are analytically driven, like a lot of professional sports teams now, and they think the game is won and lost out at the three-point line. Joe Mazzulla has told you in no uncertain terms that's what he believes. That was not based on his personnel. I think they have turned Tatum, Brown, Derek White. Look at Derek White's three-point shooting numbers in San Antonio before he got here. And now look at what he is. And Murray's mentioned this a million times. He thinks he's Ray F. Allen.
Yeah, right.
He didn't play that way in San Antonio. They turned him into that. Was Jordan Walsh a three-point shooter in college?
No, I don't think.
How could he be? Look at how he shoots the basketball.
I agree.
But
no, they turn most of these guys into 3-and-D wings.
Yeah.
They really do.
I mean, Jaylen Brown wasn't hard. He wasn't even a good shooter when he got here, never mind a three-point shooter. So for Pete's sake, it's a lie when they tell you that they're trying to shape the team around the skill set of their players. They're analytically driven. The analysts have long since determined the value of the efficiency of the three-point shot.
Does their style fit Tatum's game?
I think they've made him worse. I think I've been saying this for years. They've done him a disservice.
How do you think Tatum wants to play?
I think most of these guys, if you give them the bailout to shoot three-pointers, they'll do it. It's easy. Playing out there is fun and easy. There's no blood in the water out there. You don't have to get whacked around. Just come down and chuck a three. Who don't want to do that?
Mazz, to answer your question, they did an in-stadium thing with ask the player something, and Tatum's preference, the question was, Tatum, would you rather prefer a three-point shot or a dunk? And he said three-point shot. So he wants to play methodical. He wants to read the defense and take a three-point shot.
So I agree with the overall assessment of what you were talking about. I think, like, if what the caller says is true, that you actually build the offense around your best player, I think they know Tatum is soft. And they want to build the offense around the perimeter because that's where Tatum wants to be. If you ask Brown, I think Brown likes going in the paint. I think he likes initiating the contact because he wants to prove he's tougher than you. He's got that attitude of like, F you, I'm not soft, I'm going to come in and knock you on your ass.
But don't you think they've asked him?
Oh, yes, definitely.
To step back? Because I can give you...
I'm just saying I think they build the offense because it's what Tatum likes.
Several examples where Brown has called out the analytics on the team.
He has.
And that just, to me, is he's obviously hearing from the people in the basketball department on how they want you to play and what they think the most efficient shot is, and he doesn't agree with it. That's why he keeps mentioning. He said it. I just played it to you. I'm not yelling at you.
No,
but I'm just yelling to yell that he said it. It wasn't the most analytically pleasing style, but I liked the way we played this year. So clearly it's at odds. The Celtics are not shaping to the personnel. They're shaping the personnel to how they think the game should be played. Like most analysts. That's the way the sports are being run now. But either way, Brown's letting you know. How do you feel about it?
Great.
No, you are anti-Tatum back there, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
Why?
I think that the way that the game is being played around the league is less of the slow, methodical pace that Tatum plays with it, and more with the upspeed move, keep cutting, keep finding the 2-on-1s, which, how are the 2-on-1s for the Celtics in that Philadelphia series? How were they? Anybody?
Probably not so great.
They were not great. So why not move and cut and keep cutting and move until you get your proper 2-on-1s or you drive to the basket for a layup? That's how you should be. And that's not what Tatum does well. Tatum, again, slow, methodical, can't figure out what the defense is, so let's step over to the side and pop a three. That's Jason Tatum. He's got an amazing skill set, sells a bunch of jerseys, not what I want for my star on a basketball team. Give me Jaylen Brown.
Stu, do you think Mazzulla likes Jaylen Brown?
I do not think he likes Jaylen Brown.
I was hoping for just a plain no.
Murray?
No.
I mean, the whole that title run from 2 years ago, more than anything.
Fake.
Fake. Big asterisk on it.
Fake.
Easiest run ever. Like all the accolades that they got, Brown getting Finals MVP, all fake. That's the anomaly. Everything else, the bigger sample size, is they face adversity. Teams toughen up. They body them on defense. This team gets frustrated and they wilt and they fail and they lose to lesser teams like the Heat, this play-in Sixers team, the Knicks last year. The title run, fake.
And clearly, Brown is antsy about his role and his spot in the pecking order. He's antsy about it. He's dealt with it. And maybe he can keep dealing with it, but you can't deny that he's agitated about it or antsy, or use whatever adjective you want in there. It's clear he's telling you. We continue with your thoughts after Big Jim Murray gets you updated here.
Boston's best sports talk. You can count on it.
2 plus 2 is a 5.
Me sento un po' pacchiato perché
Felger and Mazz.
I don't think the Celtics could get Giannis for anything less than either Tatum or Jaylen Brown. And the question I'm asking you guys after that is, are the Bucks going to do any better than someone like Jaylen Brown if indeed the Celtics are interested in this?
No, if they put that on the table, that's an easy win for Milwaukee to get Jaylen Brown. Obviously, he comes with a $300 million price tag. And between him and Jason Tatum, you're talking about $600 million. But they can't have all three. But if you're Milwaukee and you're looking at every package around the league and you're going, Jaylen Brown, who's completely, redone his career from the outside of, he couldn't dribble left, and now he was an MVP candidate through the season. That's a big
and a
for him.
Finals MVP.
Boy, can you imagine the reward for Jaylen Brown having the best year of his career and getting Finals votes is being traded to a team that's rebuilding?
No.
That'd be wild.
So the Jaylen Brown thing, what do you do about it? And a logical thing that people are jumping to, that's the Dan Le Batard show there. Trade him. Giannis rumors are out there. Mazz, your thoughts on Giannis here or Brown out? What do you do about this? What do you do about this?
Well, so look, at the end of the day, it's going to probably require you to move one of the two. And I would not leave Tatum out of the equation here just because you never know what you can get. So, if you can make some sort of deal where the better get is Tatum and you end up with Giannis, Brown, and whatever else, then I think you have to look at that. But I think it's getting to the point where you got to do something like that. Now, I would my preference would be to keep Tatum and Brown together. And I would tell you that when Tatum first came back, and even for a little while after that, I'm not just talking about the first week, I thought the two of them were playing better together than we've ever seen them. There was about a week or two period in there where the interaction between the two on the floor and the team as a whole was the best offense I've ever seen them play. If they can tap into that and keep it there, that's what I would prefer. I just don't know if they can do it. And so then, or if Brown really wants to.
We're adding Giannis to that, and then now Jaylen Brown is the third fiddle? Okay. No, they gotta break this up. You can't run this back because it's clear Jaylen Brown doesn't want to be the second fiddle. He's not going to be the third guy behind now Giannis you're adding to the mix, because if you're going to, I don't know how that would work. He's got to go or Tatum's got to go. They can't run this back and you think the results are going to be any different. It's not going to change.
I'm sorry, Mike. Jimmy's talked about this a lot, but it's hard to not get the feeling that Brown feels squeezed out. Okay, and whether it's just Tatum or Tatum, White, and Mazzulla, because those are both his guys, Jaylen Brown, I think, feels like he's on the outside looking in. Okay, and when that's the case, he's not happy. And if he's not happy, it's hard to be fully, completely invested.
Is Giannis a good enough return?
I'd like something better. I wish he wasn't so old and injury riddled and having questions about his health, but what else? I don't know. Who else are we dealing for? What other names that could be realistically available?
So my answer is not for me.
Not for me either.
But that might be the best you get.
And I say, I don't know if you're going to find someone, quote unquote, better. You know, I like.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
Maybe someone is not going to be as high up in the MVP voting or his Raptor or his pie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But fits better with Tatum. I don't think Giannis is a fit. I don't think Giannis is a fit with anyone, frankly. So he doesn't play off the ball. I haven't seen him play well with anyone since Chris Middleton 5 years ago. You know what I mean? So it's like, and Chris Middleton is like a role. You know, I've never seen him play well next to another star. And not that he's had a ton of chances to do that, but I just don't know. I just don't see him doing that. So is there a lesser player, quote unquote lesser player, that's a better fit? That's what I would look at. I don't think Giannis is going to work here. I don't think he's going to work anywhere.
I mean, look, in that league, you can come up with all kinds of crazy scenarios. You know, you trade Brown for picks, flip the picks for this guy. That, you know what I mean? Like, so
take out the name. What kind of player would fit best with Jason Tatum? A big guy, a true point guard, another wing, you tell me, a classic two guard like Ray Allen. What? Give me the prototype of what that would work best with Jason Tatum.
So I don't think it's another wing. And if Tatum's going to have the ball in his hands as much as he does, then I would say it's like a sniper, you know, or a big guy that can, you know, a healthy Porzingis. I'll give you that. Because I think
that's a wing player.
Well, but not really. He can be a high post player too, and he's a good passer out of there. So, like, you know, Porzingis can make jumpers, but he can also play nearer the basket. He's just brittle.
Yep.
So, but I mean, everybody wants that guy. There isn't a team in the league that doesn't want that. So, I don't think you're going to find that. You know, unless you want to take a flyer on Porzingis again on a short contract.
Hold on, yes, Jimmy.
The player that you trade Jaylen Brown for is you trade Jaylen Brown to Miami for a friend of Jason Tatum, Bam Adebayo. That's who you trade him for. And you lose the trade on the pie chart and the value chart, but Tatum gets a friend. Jaylen Brown gets Eric Spoelstra, who is a coach I believe he likes.
I like the Adebayo idea.
How old's he now?
I was going to say, are you giving up some age?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
But you know what? Brown and Tatum, it's time to stop talking about those guys like they're young players.
Yeah, right.
Younger than I thought. He's 28.
And what's Brown? 20. I think he's 28. I bet they're the same age.
Well, I bet she's closer to 30.
Yeah.
Adebayo. 20. Brown's 29. That
you get younger, right?
Adebayo, I thought was like 32. Okay, I could live with that.
I mean, Brown and Tatum. Brown's been in the league 10 years. He's been in the league 10 years. These guys aren't around anymore. You know, Gasper said this a few weeks ago. That I don't know if you remember it. He said on a Friday, you know, the window with Tatum and Brown is starting to close. Brown's contract is up in a few years. And I thought about it, and I said, he's not wrong. I mean, what are the chances Brown really re-ups here? They're probably low at this stage, so you might be forced to deal him anyway. So they should absolutely be proactive on this.
Well, my first, if I were the Celtics or a Celtics fan, the preference by far is to keep them together. And to just, I don't know, try and appease Brown in some way. You know, make it work. Make it work. Make it more of a true partnership so Brown doesn't feel so aggrieved. But then again, the man is constantly aggrieved. Jaylen Brown is one walking grievance on the floor and off. Constant injustice. In a basketball sense, in officiating sense, every sense of the word. So I don't know if you can please Jaylen Brown. I don't know if there's a way to do it. But on pure basketball, I'm doing it. I'm keeping them together and say tough. All right? You don't like it as much when it's not your show, tough. You want to win? Appeal to them, whatever. Because I don't think you're going to – whatever you're going to replace them with isn't going to be as good. I don't think.
No, I wouldn't argue that. I'm just not sure how important winning is to them anymore.
And that's a scary thought right there as well. The way to listen to Jaylen Brown, it might not be as important to him as it once was. I don't know how you could fall on your face so badly and profess to have so much fun. What is, again, if James Harden had said that, what would we say about it?
Bum loser.
We would say, typical. Makes perfect sense coming from that guy. So back to your thoughts right after these words in our long commercial-free segment. I want to get to the gossip first.
Everything you said is right.
Felger and Mazz, the Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's a bad look. You can't open your mouth on Twitch hours after blowing a 3-1 lead and talk about the officials are out to get you. and how flopping has ruined the game. The fact of the matter is that the Boston Celtics have spent far too much time depending on a three. They were 61 for 180 on open threes in the series. Why the hell didn't you go to the rack? Why did you try to get a foul call? You trying to tell us that you didn't have any faith that you get a foul call and that's why you launched threes? It didn't stop you from going up 3-1. 3 of the 4 games that the Boston Celtics lost in this series was on their home court. On their home court. You can't blame the officials for that. He's a good brother. A very special brother who's accomplished a great deal of things. Nothing but mad love for Jaylen Brown. Nothing but mad love for him. But to say that, ladies and gentlemen, this ain't 2-3 weeks later, a month later, whatever. In the immediate aftermath of blowing a 3-1 series lead, that's your argument? Flopping has ruined the game and the officials are out to get you? That's just not accepting accountability for what y'all didn't do as a team.
Stephen A. said he loves himself Jaylen Brown. He's the last guy that wants to call out Jaylen Brown. Even Stephen A. is doing it because I think some of Jaylen Brown's comments and how he's carried himself has been that egregious. Your thoughts? Dean in Shrewsbury. Go ahead, Dean.
It's a travesty that they didn't go to the mid-range game for Brown more in this series. Now, if you shoot the mid-range 55% or above on volume, you're doing pretty good, and Brown's at 57%. And it goes back to this whole not contextualizing statistics because going to the mid-range opens up, it forces the center out, and it forces the point guard down to cover, and it opens up the rest of the floor so your other shots get more efficient. So while in isolation, it might not look as good as other shots, you still need to shoot it to space out the floor.
The analytics lack contextualization, man.
He's right, though. I understand what he means. Where's the open part of the floor now in the NBA? And the answer is it's in the middle.
You can't see the floor, Mazz, or the open spaces when you're looking at a spreadsheet.
Well, so that's exactly right. But if the Celtics were willing to go into that middle area, he's right. The big guy's got to come out a little, and the guy's got to collapse a little from the three-point line behind you. And now all of a sudden, there's a little more opening to work in those other areas. But the Celtics are too freaking locked into their, the tunnel vision with their blinders on, like they're running the freaking Kentucky Derby.
Scott in Ohio, go.
Yeah, this is. I agree with a lot of this been saying, but if the coach is the one that sets the tone and sets the structure and everything like that, why are we not talking more about getting rid of Mazzulla? First of all, I want to say this: I never liked him to be coach. I never wanted him to be coach in the first place when Udoka left. Okay, I would like to keep Brown and Tatum together. Okay, if possible, but it's not possible under Mazzulla.
Scott,
you need a coach that's got.
Scott, I think everyone's talking about firing the coach. Everyone. So, and believe me, I'm at the front of the line. I've been telling you for years. Guy's in over his head. It's obvious. It's obvious he's in over his head when he gets in these real games. It's clear. Did you notice him call the exact same play 2 straight possessions against the Knicks last year in one of those first 2 games? The exact same end-to-end play with Jason Tatum? Exact same play, and then didn't call a timeout in the middle of the second one when clearly the Knicks were waiting for him, and Tatum dribbles right into the corner and right into the loss. Did we mention that? He clearly overmatched in these games. I think he's overmatched in terms of temperament, Mazz. Like, his temperament's off. To be a head coach, you got to be able to handle the questions and the back and forth, and you got to, on some level, admit that you got to know what you don't know. You got to be willing to admit mistakes. You got to have, if you're a mature adult or a professional, you have to have all those things. He doesn't have them. He doesn't have the temperament for it. He's not ready for it. And I think these things have been obvious for years. So, Scott, the reason I'm not talking about right this second is because I've been talking about it for 4 years. Yes, Mazz?
No. I mean, to me, it's mind-numbing how they play. They drop the game plan, and then they just keep playing it. They're almost like, you've used that term with Belichick, the teams that do what they do, and they're easy to play against because you know exactly what they're going to do. That's the Celtics.
Yes.
That is who they are.
It's really not hard to figure out. So these other coaches, these other quote-unquote accomplished coaches, who aren't, I don't think anything special either. They're just, seasoned NBA guys. Nick Nurse, Eric Spoelstra, Tom Thibodeau. They eat your lunch.
Because you're predictable. With
these lesser teams, the lesser talent, with an experienced, seasoned coach, Steve Kerr, looks at you, not as good of an example because, the Warriors have some all-time players for sure. But those other teams don't. But they have coaches that have been around the block, and they look at you and go, well, this is kind of easy. And they're not going to change it. So you end up losing to these lesser teams.
That's exactly it. You're predictable. They know exactly what you're going to do, and you're too stubborn to change.
Don't tell me. Why aren't we talking about that? I've been talking about this for 3 or 4 years. John in Charlestown. Go ahead, John.
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking my call. So, Felger, if that's the case, then Stevens is culpable.
Yes.
Because it's obvious you got a fire duality, dude. Oh, yeah, winning is the same as losing. You try saying that in front of Belichick, I'll punch you in the head, right? So then Stevens must like this, okay? And so you're going to either have to get the Bruce Cassidy of NBA coaches to hold these two guys accountable and get the best out of them, or you're going to keep going with statistics. And we're looking at the loss of two franchises in this town that have based everything on statistics, the Red Sox and the Celtics.
Yes.
And that's what we're looking at right now.
Listen, John, they're going to have to, if the Celtics want to change how they play, they have to really swallow their pride. And this thing that they've been not just shoving down the throat of the NBA, but us. And, Mike Zarins is their lead nerd over there. Zarins was the guy, you mentioned this comment yesterday. It was, I didn't realize it was in the Wall Street Journal, but whatever story was written had a quote of Zarins and Mazzulla embracing after their Game 5 win over the Mavericks, saying this was a testament to math and hard work. Math. So
that's how they look at it.
That's how they look. So they're going to have to swallow that and pretty much admit they were wrong. And admit they were wrong by personnel changes, not just on the bench, but in the front office and the basketball department and all of that. And I don't think they're going to do it. I think they're above that. I think they want to prove that they're a different kind of NBA team that doesn't just go with the win, doesn't change every couple of years because they had a bad result. They stick to it. It's about the Celtics and the process, and they're going to stick with it. And you're not going to win again because of it unless they make some major changes. And it's not just the coach. John's right.
Oh, listen, to me, again, I'm falling onto these football analogies now. That old line, you're either coaching it or allowing it to happen. That's Stevens. So he's doing a press conference tomorrow, apparently. Can someone ask him, Brad, what's your offensive philosophy? Do you have an offensive philosophy of how you'd like to play? Like, can someone ask him that? And are you and Mazzulla completely in line with how you want the team to play?
What's the chance of the Celtics writers asking him something like that?
0.
They've been instructed not to ask about three-pointers. And Washburn's the only one that does it still. Because he's like an old-school newspaper guy. He's not going to take that. You don't ask me. You don't tell me what to say. The rest of the Celtics media, go along with it.
I mean, again, there's a million ways to ask it, but do you find yourself getting as frustrated as fans do with the way you play offense? Like, we need to find out where Stevens stands on this, and someone's got to ask him. I'm inclined to get on there myself tomorrow.
Want to do it?
What time is it?
What time is it, Stu?
9:45 a.m.
Oh, I'm out. That's too early.
No, I can make that.
I'm joking. The Bruins are doing something tomorrow at 2.
Well, we're out of that one.
We've been asked to take some of it live.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh?
Can they get us on? Can they get us on live?
Zoom availability, anything like that?
I don't know, but so we'll take some of the Bruins stuff live. But I say some until they bore us to tears or whatever.
So that's one question.
So the Celtics in at 9:45?
Yeah.
Is that at the practice facility?
Yes.
Hour back.
Ooh, it's an easier commute.
Let's take this under advisement.
Yeah, let's discuss during the break.
Let's discuss, shall we?
I'm going to start going to these press conferences.
Good.
I went to the core.
Yeah, you bothered the Red Sox. Go bother the Celtics.
No, I think I am. I'm going to put on my green pullover tomorrow and get on there.
There is no more compliant media group than the Celtics media guys. Just for an example, another bozo move by this coach. Remember that media game?
Yeah, the little scrimmage.
Where they wouldn't let him get over half court, and I can't remember the score, 54-4.
Yeah, something like that.
That embarrassing display from Mazzulla. Go back and read what they wrote. Go back and read different guys And it's going to sound it's going to sound like they all kind of almost wrote the same thing about how fun it was and how it was a special life experience. Like some of the guys almost use like almost the exact same language. It's almost as if they were encouraged to write something about that, and they all sort of wrote it. Go back and read it from a handful of different guys who were there that day, or listen to the folks that were on TV and then talked about it. You're going to find that it was all kind of the same thing. It's odd like that. I remember, but when Washburn was on, he was like, "No, I was off that day. If I was there that day, it would have been a little different." He's from Inglewood.
Yeah. He was not going to get a mask.
No, I know he plays like that. But the rest of them. So if you're expecting them,
I love Washburn.
If you're expecting them, the folks down there cover the Celtics to ask these questions, we may have to do it ourselves, Mazz.
I'm telling you, I'm not joking. I would seriously consider going down.
I'm gonna send Jake.
Jake will be there.
We have 90 seconds for an update. Another not so positive development for the Red Sox. We'll just give you the latest on that and come back with your calls. No commercials here. Don't go anywhere.